Yeah, I think opening night's always great for everybody. So I think, from experience, you try to temper it down a little bit because sometimes people get too excited and overzealous. But I do like the jump the last couple of days and the temperament to guys. Guys are itching to go, so that's kind of fun.
Said on the weekend, Artie. It is Artie gets.
Yeah, Artie's playing tonight. Yes. Yep.
On opening night, I mean, is it different when you're a team like you were last year, hadn't been in the playoffs for a bit, dying to get in, as opposed to now, you've got different expectations longer term? Is it tough to get as motivated for opening night?
I don't think so. I think every year, everybody has the same, mentality. I mean, last year, guys, they wanted to have a great start. It's the same thing, like this year. It's the same thing, and I think if you just go by game, I know it's a cliche, but if you just have that attitude, I think it's just better. And I think tonight, yeah, it's opening night, but it's Calgary, and we just got to worry about tonight's game. We'll worry about tomorrow. I think that's the best way to approach these games.
How much of just last year owning the day, Rick, whether it was practice, a game, or whatever, how much do you think that played into last year, what you guys were able to accomplish by not looking too far ahead, and how can that help you again if you take the same mantra?
Well, I think, there's a lot of stuff going into, like, even whether it's tonight or this season. I mean, there's competition for jobs. I mean, people want, they want more, right? More ice time, more responsibility, and that's a good thing for our team. But you also got to fit into puzzles too. Like, I'm a puzzle guy, so make sure whatever you bring to the team, whatever it is, that you do that to your best ability. And I think, it's a tight group, but it's also a group that knows that there's competition, there's higher expectations. So that's a good thing.
The player you got to know in JT when you came here, he hits the 800 game mark tonight. What have you come to appreciate about him, not only as a player, but as kind of that guy who drives the team and the voice of reason in the room, just everything?
Well, he's always trying to get better every day, physically and mentally, how his approach to the game, how can he be better and off the ice and on the ice when it comes to the game. I think I have a lot of respect for him. He's changed as a person, as a young kid, and he'll, as a 23, 24-year-old till now. Like, he's here at the rink early. He's watching video. He comes into camp great shape. He wants the power play to be good. He wants to, he wants to work on his own defensive part of his game. He'll go grab a coach to watch video. So I think he's one of those guys that really wants to apply himself, and he knows this is whatever you call it, whatever window it is, that this is a big year, and he really wants to be prepared for it.
When you talk about systems, you wanted to make some changes in terms of being a little bit more aggressive and how you want to play in transition. So with those specifics in mind, is there something you want to see tonight to see how far along you are in those areas?
Yeah, I want to see what we worked on in training camp and in practice, and watched a ton of video on it. I want them to do it tonight. Don't be afraid to do it. I mean, you got to be calculated. I mean, we can't, like I said to you guys, we are who we are, but I think there's more there, and I'd like to see it. And it's not going to happen just all of a sudden. We're going to turn it on and off tonight. It's going to be a process here. But I do want guys to step out a little bit and find those things that we talked about. Don't worry about having the safety net underneath you. Like, it's okay to let it hang out, but like I said, we got to find that sweet spot.
What does it take to hit 800 games in a league?
That's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. A lot of things got to go your way. You got to be like, sometimes injuries, you're unlucky. You can be in the greatest shape, but something bad happens on the ice. So you got to be a little bit lucky, but also the testament of your strength of the physical part, and then the mental part. It's hard to play a lot of NHL games. It's a lot of back-to-backs. It's traveling. It's this. There's a lot of ups and downs. So it's hard. It's a great milestone for JT.
Rick, at the end of last year, there was a lot made about how great the atmosphere was. What are you expecting from the fans for the home opener?
Yeah, I think they're expecting more. I'm not sure at the start of the year what they were expecting. I think they wanted to see a team that worked hard. I thought they saw that, and they saw, they started to believe in the team as the season went on. Now they're going to expect more. As a player, you always expect more from yourself. You just got to be careful that, you just don't get. Sometimes guys get nervous, when there's a lot of pressure on you. And I think we did a good job last year, and even this year we've talked about that, blocking out that sort of stuff and just, worry about the game.
Rick, will you play the way you practiced yesterday? Like, is Ratu the odd man out tonight, or does Ratty get in there? Or?
There's a good chance Rats will play tonight. We're still haven't decided at this minute, but he's got a good shot at being tonight.
How important is it? You've been to carry young players like Ratu, and you've talked about Baines. How important is it that they actually play, or is that not necessarily a priority and you just want them around the room?
Yeah, I think as a philosophy of the team, I don't think having a young guy sit around is a good thing. But my philosophy early in the season, you want to get them in, but it's okay if they don't play a game here or there and they're with the big team because they can practice. And then later, if, for whatever reason, I don't want to say it doesn't work out, but we feel it's better to go down. I'd rather do that personally. I'd like to have them with me for at least a couple of weeks and see how it works. Whether it's in a game or practice. Baines, for instance, I think him being, the last week practicing with us and stuff like that. And I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Patrick yet with the paper and all that stuff, the paper, the waivers and all that stuff. He's a possibility of getting called back up and been practicing with us. I believe in that instead of going and playing a couple of games on average right now. But those philosophies can change in a week or two.
If Ratu does play, who sits?
Well, it could probably suits. He's not 100%. He could play, but it'd probably he'd be the odd man out if we go that approach.
What about the message it sends to young guys in the organization, Rick, about not only getting them here, but rewarding them on effort and getting them into the lineup? I mean, guys are very wary of what's happening in the parent club. What do you think that means when you show that kind of faith in whether it's Ratu or Baines?
Yeah, you always want to get youth in the lineup, but you don't just give youth just because you want youth in. They have to deserve it, and I think it's, you're looking for some qualities in those guys, and Rats has that, and Baines has the stuff that we're looking for. So I think it's a good thing, and it pushes competition, but it's also, when you get youth in there, it just, you can't have 6 or 7 really good guys in the money. Then, in 2 years, you're going to have about 8 guys on waivers. So you have to have that underneath developed guys that when they're ready, they got to push jobs. That's just the reality of a good franchise.
What do you make of what you have on the back end at 5, 6, and 7? You talked about Forbert, you talked about Desharnais wanting to get some work done, and of course you've got Juleson as well. What do you make of what you have there?
Well, I like the fact that even Forsey, he knows who he is, but just in preseason, just his positioning, getting in front of people. He's a really good penalty killer. He block shot. He's tough to play against, and we're going to work on Vinny a lot this year. I think he's going to really. I think his game's going to go even higher under footy, and Gonch is going to, when he's in town, has been working on him a ton. I think he's a guy that can really take his game another level. They're just tough guys. We want to be a hard team to play against in our back end.
In another year, maybe Friedman sticks after the kind of camp and preseason he has, but the reality of the cap and everything. What do you make of what he did accomplish when he was here?
Yeah, Freeze deserves to be. He's. Unfortunately because of the numbers, but he could be easily called up too if we work it out. I like carrying 8 defense, but right now, I don't know how we're going to work it out in the next week or two. But he's had a really good camp. You get a rash of injuries. Freeze can go in there and give us good minutes. I mean, I don't know if a lot of teams have that depth that we've got, and we got these young guys who are pushing too. Carell there and Pedersen and getting Branston. I mean, these guys are pushing jobs too.
Looking at game notes today, Gonch has the title defensive development coach. Has his role on your staff changed over the course of the summer?
No, he's the same. Yeah, he's more when he comes into town. He'll be 2 weeks at a time. So, for instance, he worked with Vinny. So Footy lets Footy do some other stuff. So he had took Vinny on the side with him for about a good 5 days, and then he'll be in contact with him through online stuff, and he'll send him stuff, and they'll communicate that way.
How much weight do you put on opening night? I mean, your club had a statement win to open last season, but we maybe didn't see sort of the team that we saw throughout the year for 5 or 6 games, really, in terms of the style that they played. Do you have to be careful as a head coach not to overreact to your first impression today?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part. Trust me, I watched all 3 games yesterday. You're excited to watch hockey, and but you just got to be careful because you know, whether you win or lose or how you win or lose, you know, sometimes it's magnified because it's opening night. So yeah, you have to temper that excitement, and even after a game, you just got to temper whatever happens, you know, your opinion of the team.
With Quinn being quieter, JT obviously being JT,
Yeah.
how has their leadership dynamic evolved, you think, since you've been here?
You know, those guys are. I think Quinn. You know, he can. It's hard to explain how he just when if he's on the road, he just goes to dinner with anybody. He could go grab 5 guys, or he might order room service stuff. Where Millsy's more of a guy that he likes to go out and bring a lot of guys. So that part is great because you have 2 different personalities. But I've liked Quinn because he's had to make some decisions as a captain, and I saw that last year, and I've seen it a little bit this year too. So he's grown as a captain. So, but it's good. I think he uses Millsy as his guy that if he needs the emotional part, he can go to Millsy.